That is Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan. In fact, I mean, anytime I get to watch his clips, anytime I get to meet him, I mean, great legend without a doubt. The excitement anytime I get to watch some of the incredible moments of Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan, Ghana's all-time top scorer, Africa's all-time top scorer at the World Cup. He broke a record that had stood for almost 2 decades by Roger Miller, and it took Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan from Ghana to break that record. And since nobody has been able to reach that remarkable feat. We're still counting it. It's been 12 years already after setting that record. 2014, 11 years to 2025. That's 11 years. And I continue to say that in terms of efficiency, Asamoah Gyan is the most efficient I have watched, the most efficient Ghanaian player I have watched. And I know it is arguable. There are some that may have diverse opinions, but you are free to share those opinions. 0533-292525. 0533-292525. And I know Jonathan Akron will be quick to ask me, from which years did I start watching the Black Stars and Ghanaian players? And let me say, from the years that I really paid critical attention to the game, you can say from 1989. Jonathan Akron is here. I'll take a few reactions from him. Kwabena Santim Fojo Kobe Jones is also here with us. Good morning, Kobe.
Yeah, good morning, Michael.
I trust you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Abdulkader Tofik Sienu is also here. Sheikh Tofik is widely referred to within the media and football circles. Sheikh, kwe lafia?
Lafia, hello, Michael.
Okay. Jonah, how is everything?
By His grace, just that.
You have disagreements with what I said?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Just eulogizing one of the finest African footballers ever.
He deserves to be eulogized.
And talking about that legend of a person, I mean, in capital letters of gold, he wrote his name in the annals of the football history in Ghana. Michael, since 2003, when a certain Ralph Zumdik picked him from a training section with under 20s in Obuasi, saw him play and picked him to join the Black Stars. He has not turned his back. He did not turn his back. His playing career from 2003 till he finally bowed out has seen or saw over 28 strikers at his position come to the Black Stars. None could take his position. None. We can off-head mention his own brother whom he came to meet, later left, the late Junior Agogo, Frimpong. I mean, we'll mention
Ibrahim Tanko.
Jotex Frimpong.
Jotex Frimpong, Ibrahim Tanko, Alex Tetimense,
Matthew Amoah,
Razak Pimpong, Majid Waris. We'll mention and not end. I said 28. People suddenly came to just Gagaga, you go, but
the
he
late
still remain.
Raphael Jamina.
Yes, and this as a folk.
Prince Tego,
something Mahatma Otu, and the
Otu.
rest. All of them at a point in time had a brush with the Black Stars during the days of Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan. But you come, you meet, you leave, he will still be number one. Not for anything, but for his pedigree and his hard work on
delivery. What he did, the numbers,
the output on the field of play, I mean, surpasses everybody. He played under several coaches, not less than 10 different coaches in the national team. He's the only striker or the only player who in the English, on the white man's land, he scored a goal and a stadium called Stadium of Light. Every light has to be put off and only one zoomed on him. Whilst he does his Baby Jet, is Bakonono dance, sending Africa's trademark dance to the world that we all know does not even like us. So, Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan will talk. Don't forget, Ghana's first World Cup that we qualify. I always say that he held the hand of the then president, Ajekum Kufuor, after he visited him and promised that they will qualify the Black Stars to the World Cup. So the man held his hand, and over 30 million, by then we were about 28 million Ghanaians to our first World Cup. Look at the crucial goals he scored one against the DR Congo in far away Kinshasa, where there was war at that time. The Ghanaian soldiers there at peacekeeping house to escort our team. A long pass, about 50 yards from Lai Kingston, he scored a goal when Shabani Nonda and the rest were playing. You go to the game against Rwanda, and where he scored an away goal.
The Shabani Nonda squad was Sierra Leone.
The Shabani Nonda squad was Sierra
Leone.
So, is it Lua or so?
Lomana Lua.
Lomana, that's the Congo. That squad,
Yes,
Lomana
that's
was
Congo,
in the
yes.
squad. And so, Asamoah Gyan has done a lot for us. I mean, on the African terrain, we've seen the likes of Oponwia. We've seen Samuel Eto'o. We've seen Didier Tabili Droba. We've seen Emmanuel Adebayo, all prominent and efficient strikers, and Mo Salah and the rest. But at the World Cup, where it matters most, he has surpassed all of them when it comes to goal scoring. He has scored at 3 different World Cups.
Yeah.
What again do you need to describe this man? So when someone says that Asamoah Gyan is his Ghanaian footballer of all time, I never fault the person. Judging on the numbers, judging on his record, and on what he has seen. At a point in time, he has to retire prematurely from the Black Stars. He was begged to come back. He came back. He did not falter, but he lived up to expectation.
Okay.
Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan, for me, of course, we can talk about the Adodamites, Charles Adodamites. We can talk about Reverend Usai Kofi. We can talk about Baba Yara. We can also talk about legendary Abedi Pele. But when you talk about Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan, he towers above a lot.
He towers above a lot. And this is Asamoah Gyan we speak about, who started his football right from the coast level for Sidaps Babies, which was then coached by former Ghanaian international goalkeeper Felix Achi-Mills. And then some of his first goals in his career, right from a very young age, his first national assignment was for the national academicals. That's after the Valco Schools soccer academicals team. They played against Nigeria. Baby Jet scored in that game. For Liberty Professionals, he made his debut against Accra Hearts of Oak in the top 4 competition, where he scored a fantastic header against Accra Hearts of Oak, again in the Premier League. That was where he scored his first Ghana Premier League goal, and his first World Cup qualifier goal came against Somalia. This production, and then do not forget, he also played for Stay Cool Professionals. I remember when Stay Cool played against Pandu Heart of Lions back in 2002-2003 Division 1 League, in the middle league. Heart of Lions got the opener. Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan got the equalizer for Stay Cool Professionals. And this is the gentleman we talk about. Sheikh.
Last man, you know his last coast match, he played at Teshi Kamtu Park against Vasajam. He scored his last coast goal on that pitch, on that day. Though they lost 3-1, Sidaps lost 3-1, coached by legendary Achi-Mills, the former goalkeeper.
Okay.
Asamoah Gyan scored in his last coast game.
Wow.
Michael, in our era, there's not been any player like Asamoah Gyan.
Like Asamoah Gyan.
In our era. I may sound a bit controversial, but that is my opinion.
I share same opinion too. I do not
say
think
in our
there's
era
any player you
because
can compare
if you
to.
look at the era of the Golden Boy Abdul Razaks,
Yeah.
the era of Ibrahim Sundays, the era of Baba Yara, the era of Abedi Pele. You know, all these are generations that you can, point to a specific figure for what he did during their time. Now, for those born from 1980 up to today, I beg to differ, but I seriously think that they cannot point to a single Black Stars player who has been overly influential in a Black Stars team than Asamoah Gyan. Look, I am somebody who has been an ardent fan of Asamoah Gyan. At a point in time when I was writing for Sports Crusader, I recall writing an article that Gyan should be, built a statue in this country just to, remember him for the wonderful things that he's done with the national team. Michael, for all the things that Gyan did for the national team, comparatively, if you compare him to even strikers on the African continent, apart from the records that he set as a striker, as a center forward, I think that only a few come closer.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people mention King George Oponwia. I don't think Oponwia was a typical center forward. Oponwia was an attacker, but I don't see him as a typical center forward. Samuel Eto'o, another player that I will always talk about because he's one player who also lifted the flag of Africa very high in Europe. Eto'o was also not a typical center forward. Eto'o could play on the lines. Eto'o could play as a center forward. He could play as a number 10. You understand? So in terms of play variations, Eto'o was there. The typical center forwards were the likes of Didier Stabili Drogba, that you see him play as a center forward. But Gyan, who had all these qualities, added even more to his game, and that made him a bit exceptional compared to all the other players that I have mentioned. So, Michael, yes, it's good that we are remembering Asamoah Gyan as a legend and as one of Ghana's,
Greatest players.
players. However, I disagree with you on the quotation of efficiency.
Okay.
Efficiency is subjective. So
Yes, once it is subjective.
No, I'm coming.
That is why you should have your opinion.
Yes. So when you say he is maybe the best Ghanaian player from maybe the 1980s to today, maybe you will have a point. Okay. But when you say the most efficient, Olele, the goalkeeper, was extremely efficient when he was imposed for the Black Stars.
Okay, I said
Efficiency.
and the quotation was for me.
I understand you.
I think he's the most efficient Ghanaian player I have watched.
Okay.
And then I went ahead to classify the period that it will span from the late 80s to
Okay,
date.
so you know
and
why
you mentioned 89, Jonathan Akron.
You said so.
I am raising this argument because of the word efficiency that you used. There is a player who plays in midfield and is extremely efficient to the extent that he is the reason Gyan will be scoring
yes,
goals.
I've made all those considerations. And
So
I still go for
me,
Asamoah Gyan.
I would have preferred you use best.
The best player.
Best player.
But how would
Instead
the
of
best
efficiency.
be different from efficient?
Okay, so the best means compared to all positions.
Okay.
Compared to all, but when you say efficient,
Okay.
he, in fact, since Ghana football started till today, Asamoah Gyan is the most efficient Ghanaian striker.
Okay. Let's leave.
You understand?
Let's leave it.
He's
at
the
that.
most efficient Ghanaian striker.
Okay.
But in terms of being the most efficient player,
Okay.
Olele was exceptional.
Olele was exceptional.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay. You're still live on Metro Sports. You can also share with us. Already there are disagreements in the studios over the assertion that Asamoah Gyan is my most efficient player I watched. And I've said that should start from somewhere 1989 to date. Jerry Afiye Pemka is here with us. He's joined us. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, Michael.
Okay, but it's fair that I go to Kwabena Asante for Kobe Jones before coming to you. So, Kobe, you have your time. The legend we celebrate today is Baby Jet Asamoah Gyan. He's our icon of the day.
Yeah, Michael, what can we say? I mean, when it comes to Asamoah Gyan, I think what we should all do is to salute him. He has had a very wonderful career. He has contributed to Ghana football positively. He has done a lot that we can't forget. He has written his name in gold. As we sit here, like my colleagues said, he is the top scorer in Africa in terms of World Cup. It hasn't happened in our history, and nobody has surpassed that. He still holds that record. So we should give him that credit. And indeed, he has raised the name of Africa, not only Ghana, to that level. And he's highly regarded out there. I would have wished that Asamoah will have a bigger role as far as African game is concerned. Because for me, he's done a lot. The last African Cup of Nations, he was one of the ambassadors. And I believe CAF will continue to use him. Because there's a lot that we can learn from Asamoah. Or, I mean, in terms of his time, from 2003 being part of the Black Stars to today, I'm not sure there is any player who has made an impact as far as our Black Stars is concerned than Asamoah. There is none. And he deserves it. He has come through a barrage of criticisms and other things, but of course, I mean, those are part of life. Life are always full of uncertainties, ups and downs, you know. It's all the time. It's not everybody who like you. But I have always maintained that in our usual life, we have our other sides. Asamoah will have his flaws, but in terms of his career and what he has done for this nation, it's on par. I mean, nobody comes near. From his time, 2003 to today, that I've watched him play. The argument about efficiency, I may a bit differ from you. For me, the most efficient player that me, Kobe Jones, have watched in my footballing career, like watching as a student of the game, Ace, Abedi, Ayu, Pele. Me, Abedi made things happen on the field of play. The way we saw him play.
I'm sure his time will come up
Yes,
in the
I know.
icon of the day. Then
I
we
know.
can discuss.
We are discussing Asamoah. But like I said, he's an icon, he's everything.
Okay.
But I'm just bringing in the issue of the efficiency. Like my brother said, he said Olele. But for me, it's Abedi Ayu Pele.
Let me go to Jerry Afriye Pemka. Our icon of the day is Baby Jet Asamoah. 51 goals for the Black Stars. He's our all-time top scorer and Africa's all-time top scorer at the World Cup.
Well, Michael, I think when
we have messages from people coming in on some of the charity projects he's done. Let's not forget he was. But let's look at the sporting bit first. I want us to focus on the sporting bit, and then we'll get into the other things that he's done.
Yeah, if you look at what he's done in terms of the performance on the field, achievements that he achieved, some people think that. Some people rate players like Samuel Eto'o and Drogba ahead of Asamoah because Asamoah did not have that record in Europe. He decided to at the peak of his career, decided to go to the Gulf. Yeah. But if you look at his influence on the continent and what he's done, especially at the World Cup, I think that he's phenomenal. No one can match his record. If he had probably stayed in European football, I'm sure his pedigree or achievements or recognition would have been higher than what it is now. But be as it may, we on the African continent recognize what he's done. And I think even globally, everybody saw what he did, especially at South Africa 2010. Young man, even in Germany 2006, his exploits were there for everybody to see. You know, it's always a controversial topic when you want to talk about the best Ghanaian player of all time. But I don't think that it will transcend between two people, in my opinion. But I saw Abedi Pele play, and I think that a single individual to influence a football game, you know, Abedi Pele, and after him, Asamoah. And I think that these two people, after them, there's a gulf, a big gap before the others. Yes. So Asamoah is a national legend. I don't think we have done enough to recognize his achievements. I don't think we've done enough. I think there's a lot the state can do There's a lot we all can do. And there's a lot even he himself can do to influence the development of football in the country. And so on an occasion like this, it's good that we eulogize him, we recognize what he's done for the country, and then we make sure that we don't wait till after 50 years before we honor his name, like we did to the CK Jenfis and others. CK Jenfi, who never got his pension until he passed away. We don't want those situations to ever befall our heroes and heroines again. So on this special occasion, we wish Asamoah well. I wish him good health and more grease to his elbow. He should use the wealth of experience he's had over the years to impact the development of football, the influence, the up-and-coming footballers, and then I'm sure posterity will judge him favorably.
Okay. I have a message. We have some messages from our viewers. This one says that Asamoah, without a doubt, is the most efficient player, like you said. Okay. And then the king of AstroTurf, Robert Tetekoman, also sent us a message. He says, he's the first person to construct an AstroTurf privately in Ghana. I salute him in Accra and hold him in high esteem. He is really a pace setter. And I think that is in fact, he's one of the engineers of this AstroTurf project, because after Robert Koeman constructed the first one at Kotobabi, Asamoah was the first person to give him contract to construct the one at Accra Academy, after which then others, Magdan followed, then we got GMPC, Ghana Gas, and the other state-owned institutions also coming in. So Robert Tetekoman says, congratulations to Asamoah. We celebrate him this morning. Okay, we also have a message which says that, this one says, good morning to you. It is good that you guys make time every day to celebrate our legends. You don't have to wait for them to die before you make them feel good. Okay, this one says, good you have brought up this discussion, but please, when are you doing Abedi Ayu Pele? Okay, don't worry, we will do Abedi Pele.
The maestro.
Okay. Michael, this one says, your panelists have all spoken and made references without mentioning to Mohamed Polo. Perhaps none of them really watched the heydays of Mohamed Polo.
I watch Mohamed Polo.
They should understand.
I watch Mohamed Polo.
I'm sure
you know, I'm a fan of Mohamed Polo, but if I should do a critique of Mohamed Polo, Mohamed Polo, the dribbling professor, is arguably the most skillful Ghanaian I've ever seen. Okay. But when you talk about end products, that is where I think that, you know, he's a bit handicapped. Yeah. Okay. When it comes to end products, you understand.
Okay.
That is where these guys are.
Good morning, Michael. Asamoah is the most efficient Black Stars player ever, irrespective of any era, albeit never winning any major trophies for the national team. The stats speak for itself. Hats off for the baby jet. Florio from Jamestown. Okay, Eric from Pillar 2 Domi says, good morning. Metro Sports is indeed the best. Baby Jet is the greatest striker we've ever had. No challenger. My humble opinion, it is absolutely wrong to assess one's performance only on goal scoring. We have many other positions that contribute to the success of the Black Stars team. Kojo from Pig Farm.
Is the reason why I mentioned that
Olele, how many defenders?
Olele was also very efficient in his position.
We are not narrowing our argument.
Ali Hashim, Mr. Impactful in Takrade, says, good morning to you and your able panelists in the studio. It's a great show as always. I'd like to share my thoughts on the government disregard for sports. In my opinion, the government isn't entirely to blame. The stakeholders in the sports sector also share responsibility. The government has many priorities to manage. So if those in charge of sports aren't providing compelling reasons for the government to support the sector, they must take some responsibility for that. Okay. You're still live on Metro Sports with me, Michael Kofiudo. That's where we end the conversation on our icon of the day in the Ghana Month celebration. Do not forget that We still have some major events coming up in the Ghana Month celebration. The climax of it will be on the 29th of March, where we bring you the Metro Sports Awards 8 in 8. The 17 nominees are up. You can log on to any of our social media platforms. You can even scan the QR code on the screens, and then you get to vote for your favorite to win the Metro Sports Awards 8 in 8. The ceremony is scheduled for the El Eldin studio here at North Ridge on Saturday, March 29, where we will honor the 8 most impactful sports personalities the last 8 years and crown one as the most impactful sports personalities. We'll also take the opportunity to honor some legends that have impacted the sporting fraternity over the years. They are not necessarily nominees, but even in the football conversation, there are names that have come up. Abedi Pele, Asamoah Gyan, Mohamed Polu. We will see. Boxing. Mentions will be made of Azuma Nelson, Ike Bazooka Kote, and the rest. The technical team will be honoring some icons on the night. Producer is telling me I shouldn't be gender biased. I should mention the likes of Adjoa Bayo, Elizabeth Saki, who are trailblazers when it comes to the women's game. Messi
wasn't exceptional about women's football. You didn't watch her. Please.
No,
Messi Tego wasn't exceptional when it comes to playing football.
So what are we talking about right now? What are we talking about right now?
No.
What are we talking about? No. What is he talking about right now? Jonah, relax.
Jonathan, hold on.
What is he talking about?
Women football is we should make
He's
women's
talking
football.
about legendary personalities.
Yes.
In the playing field also.
Wait.
Sports.
So you see now you're asking a question.
No, but
Slow down.
Hold on, guys, hold on. But Jonathan, even in the area of women's football, Messi Tego played she played
as a player. She became a referee,
she coached.
a
So
coach.
fine, if you can, but narrow it to maybe a referee.
Her story in women's football is
coach,
exceptional.
Let's do UEFA Champions League football
shut down.
now.